Nobody gets to avoid being hypnotized. Everybody has used hypnosis on others and themselves without realizing it. Hypnosis is not an unnatural phenomenon. When you were in your first 2.5 years of life, you were in a constant state of hypnosis. You had not fully developed your critical thinking faculties. Everything you experienced was taken in at face value into your subconscious systems and process. The most confusing aspects of your early experience were resolved by creating rules. Most of the rules exist outside of language, like gravity. You learned gravity without knowing what it was called or how it worked, You simply lived it. This is how adaptive and maladaptive rules get adopted into behavior, and we can find ourselves thinking, feeling, and doing things we cannot change despite the fact that life is calling for us to think, feel, and behave in different ways. Much conversation is hypnotic. If somebody has influenced change in you, then that was hypnosis. Hypnosis is simply a word we have adopted to describe a spectrum of natural phenomena that existed before the word hypnosis was ever created, as long as our species has existed. Of course, there are ways that these natural phenomena can be manipulated, but these are natural too. Understanding them and developing ways to play with them can help us to adapt to life in ways that alleviate distressing thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. At that moment, I noticed that I hummed the last tune I heard without even realizing that I heard it. It's Christmas music everywhere at the moment. Without trying, I seem to be becoming more festive in my choice of tunes. It's all hypnosis. Hypnosis works really well for confidence, but you don't need a hypnotist. You can do this yourself very easily. A simple mind trick that gives you instant confidence. But you can easily and safely do this yourself to eliminate negative beliefs and behaviors and substitute positive ones to boost self-esteem. Hypnosis is a heightened state of receptivity, suggestibility, responsiveness, and openness to thoughts, sensations, or actions in which the end result is to acquire automatic positive responses. You are almost always in a hypnotic state or trance state, but it's especially noticeable when falling asleep and upon awakening. Notice how effective TV commercials are and you will get an idea of how suggestibility works, or how the media in general influence public thought and action. During hypnosis, your brain switches from the normal thinking, sensory motor state of beta frequency to the lower frequency alpha, which is more relaxed, aware, and expanded, where creativity and ideas emanate, a state of peace and well-being. This is the bridge to long-forgotten memories and the state in which your subconscious mind is open to accepting new programming. You will recognize this state by any of the following bodily sensations: tingling fingertips, numbness or limb distortion, light feeling of floating away from your body, heavy like sinking, energy moving through the body, emotions heightened, fluttering eyelids, salivation increases or decreases, and tiredness, but you do not fall asleep. First off, give your entire body a good shakedown, and then confidently march around the room with your shoulders back, your head high, and a big smile on your face, even if you feel terrible. After a very short time of doing this, your mood will begin to shift. When most people do this for the first time, they report that they feel silly. Then they realize that feeling silly is a step up from what they were feeling, and the forced smile starts to become a natural one. Here are 6 steps to use self-hypnosis to get more discipline. Our biggest hurdle to being more disciplined is dealing with the internal discomfort that we feel and our urge to distract ourselves away from this uncomfortable feeling. Hypnosis has been shown to be scientifically effective in over 3,000 studies worldwide. And yet, it is still a largely misunderstood and highly underutilized life skill. Think of it like meditation on steroids, but with a problem-finding, laser targeting system installed. Step 1 Belief. First, understand what hypnosis is, and that is basically a trick of the mind that creates inner resourcefulness within you to create the change you want. If you don't believe it will work, then you are right. If you believe it will work, then it will. It works the same way that you believe you have a problem. If you believe you have a problem, then you do, but if you don't, then you don't. Step 2 Control. Self-hypnosis is about self-control, allowing yourself to relax and get into a trance-like state. Like any skill, the more you practice this, the better you get at it. And again, if you think you are great at doing this, you end up becoming great at it. Step 3 Focus. Start small. Decide on one aspect of your life that you want to improve on, and create a positive hypnotic suggestion about this, e.g., every morning I wake up feeling energized and inspired, or every day I find it easier to focus on high-value tasks, or every day I embrace the discomfort of being more disciplined. Don't make the suggestion too complicated, and only start with one suggestion so you don't have to retain too much conscious connection whilst under trance. Step 4 Relax. Find a relaxation induction technique that you believe works best for you to take you into that relaxed and receptive state of mind. Step 5 Affirm. Whilst relaxed, sub-vocalize your suggestion over and over and over, roughly 8 to 15 times, but don't count. It doesn't really matter how many times. Just do it enough to embed the suggestion into your unconscious mind. This could take 45 seconds or 3 minutes. It's up to you. 6. Step 5. Let go. Count yourself out progressively or just tell yourself to open your eyes feeling alert and refreshed. That's it. Repeat this process for any other suggestions you want to work on as often as you like. Again, this all works really well when you have developed the belief in your own ability to use hypnosis to get resourceful and create the changes you want. So before you go too crazy with it and tackle your biggest problems in life, make sure you develop that belief in yourself in the process first. How does hypnosis work for raising self-confidence? Causes of low self-esteem. One cause of low self-esteem, which starts very early in life for some people, is disapproving parents or caregivers. If parents are highly critical and judgmental of their child, it can cause the thought that it doesn't matter what they do, it won't be good enough. Or along the same lines, it doesn't matter how good they are, it won't be noticed. Trauma, whether it be physical or emotional abuse, may be the most overt cause of low self-esteem. Being forced into a physical and emotional position against your will can make it very hard to trust yourself or trust others, which profoundly impacts self-esteem. People who suffer from the trauma of abuse often take on the blame for the abuse even though it isn't their fault. Many people have thinking biases that contribute to low self-esteem. One example of a thinking bias is that a person is quick to find anything that fits with negative ideas or beliefs about themselves and discount anything positive which would contradict the negative. When a person does this, they in effect focus on what they do wrong and ignore what they do right. A person with low self-esteem has a tendency to disregard or even reject compliments given to them with the idea that it's not true and someone is just trying to be nice by giving the compliment. When a person has low self-esteem, the beliefs they hold about who they truly think they are will be mainly negative, and negative beliefs are expressed in many ways. Someone with low self-esteem is generally self-critical, self-blaming, and self-doubting, and focuses on their weaknesses rather than their strengths. These beliefs will affect how a person behaves. They might avoid challenges and opportunities, be continually apologetic, or find it difficult to be assertive. This person feels sadness, guilt, shame, frustration, and anger. This also shows up in physical ways, causing illness and feelings of fatigue and tension. You can use self-hypnosis as often as you like, for as many areas as you like. It ultimately comes down to your belief in your own ability to make these changes. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and so simply believing that you can handle the multiple suggestions and changes you want to see happen is already a hypnotic suggestion you are sub-vocally saying to yourself about your upcoming self-hypnosis session. When starting out, it is best to focus on 1 or 2 at a time, to develop that stronger belief and confidence in yourself and the technique. Would the process of changing habits be notably harder or slower than if you focused on 1 at a time? Again, it all depends on your belief, but as a generic response, if you are a beginner, then start with 1 to create some successful momentum, then do the second one. Hypnosis doesn't make you do anything. It just makes your existing decisions easier. So if you decide to quit smoking and change diet and you are both emotionally and intellectually invested in these decisions, then hypnosis will make the changes happen faster, easier, and with less effort. But also realize that doesn't mean you won't ever have a setback. You might and you might not. If you do, just realize that this is just feedback for you to learn from.